We recently got some unfortunate news. Starting February 1st, 2026, the airport lounge offerings on the Capital One Venture X and Venture X business will be nerfed. Currently, if you have one of these Venture X cards, you will get as a complimentary benefit 2 guests to Capital One lounges and unlimited guests to most priority pass lounges. Your authorized users also get complimentary access to the Capital One and Priority Pass lounges, and they also enjoy the same guest privileges as you do. Given that authorized user cards are free, this ability to so easily share airport lounge access makes for a superpower on the Venture X cards. However, this superpower is going away. I thus can't help but wonder, are the Venture X cards still up there in the rankings in terms of their airport lounge access? In this one, let's talk about the best cards for airport lounge access post Venture X nerf. For those of you looking to get lounge access for the first time or maybe switch up your current setup, I think you'll find this video pretty helpful. And if you do, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It would be a misguided endeavor if we don't first state the criteria for what determines a good airport lounge access card. If your home airport has limited lounge options in the terminal that you typically fly out of, then the card that gives you access to those lounge options will likely be the best one for you. For example, if your home airport is Newark Liberty International Airport like mine is, and you typically fly with United, then your only lounge option is really United Clubs. The United Club personal and business cards would thus likely be your best option since they're the only ones that give you access to those United Clubs for free. However, this home airport criteria is very specific to the individual, and thus we're not going to consider it for these general rankings. Rather, the criteria will be the following. Number 1, we want diverse lounge options that don't necessarily require you to fly with a specific airline. Cards that only offer access to airline-specific lounges when you fly that airline, like the United Club cards and the City Advantage Executive World Elite MasterCard, thus won't make the cut. Criteria number 2, generous guest policies. So, where the Venture X cards are currently standing out, but not for long. An A+ in this criteria would be something like unlimited guest accesses for no spend requirement, and an A-B would maybe be 2 free guests. Finally, number 3, lower annual fees for that lounge card. Most lounge cards are premium travel cards that go for at least $400 in annual fees, but as we will see later, there are some coveted exceptions. With our 3 criteria being unveiled, let's dive into the best cards for airport lounge access in no particular order except for the number 1 option, which we'll of course unveil last. To start, we have the US Bank Altitude Connect card. This is a no annual fee card that offers 4 priority pass visits per year. No guest privileges since you're unable to share those passes, so a fail on criteria number 2. While this card does only offer Priority Pass, note that Priority Pass in itself has the largest footprint worldwide in terms of airport lounge networks, and furthermore, you don't need to be flying a specific airline to access them. Also, the 4 visits doesn't just include Priority Pass lounges, but also Priority Pass experiences and restaurants, so some added diversity in terms of your options, making for a passable outcome in terms of criteria number 1. Where the Altitude Connect obviously shines is in criteria number 3 with its no annual fee. So if you are just going to be traveling a few times every year, this card might be your best option. There's also a business version of the Altitude Connect that also offers 4 priority pass visits in a year, but note that there is a $95 annual fee on this one outside of the first year, so the personal version obviously wins out. Next, we're getting to our last few cards that only come with priority pass access, starting with the Bank of America Premium Awards Elite card. For $550, you get complimentary access to priority pass lounges, restaurants, and experiences. In terms of complimentary guest access, there's technically no limit to the lounges, though individual lounges may impose their own limits. For experiences, it's also unlimited guests, and for restaurants, it's 1 free guest, I believe. I've never had this card before, so let me know in the comments if I'm mistaken. Essentially, the Premium Rewards Elite card has the best version of Priority Pass out there for a decently steep $550 annual fee, though I can imagine that you can offset that fee with some of the other credits that come on the card. There's also the $499 JetBlue Premier card, which comes with the same Priority Pass offering as that Bank of America card. Lower annual fee, yes, though I'd still recommend the Premium Awards Elite card as the better overall card. Plus, I imagine that once JetBlue starts opening their own lounges, their Priority Pass offering on the JetBlue Premier card will get nerfed. Finally, the $650 Bonvoy Brilliant card also has a decent Priority Pass offering, though certainly worse since there are no restaurants and only 2 complimentary guests. Now we move on to the bank-sponsored lounges, which over the past few years have really grown in their footprint and are continuing to expand. Having already touched on the Venture X personal and business cards, let's start there where you get for yourself complimentary access to Capital One lounges, landings, and priority pass lounges. And as mentioned earlier, the guest privileges and authorized user privileges are getting nerfed, where now you will have to pay a fee on the personal version for both Capital One lounges, landings, and priority pass. Fortunately, on the business version, you'll still be getting 2 free guests to Priority Pass lounges, as will your authorized users. Speaking of authorized users, they'll only get their own lounge access benefits by paying $125 per user on both the personal and business cards. Now, if you spend $75,000 on your Venture X in a calendar year, you unlock 2 free guests to Capital One lounges and 1 free guest to Capital One landings. No small sum, making all of these changes not bode particularly well for the Venture X cards. What's worse, Capital One's lounge footprint is smaller than Chase's and Amex's, with 5 Capital One lounges, 1 landing, and 1 landing coming soon. On a more positive note, these Venture X cards remain your only options to get access to the Capital One lounges and landings, and at just $395, they're cheaper relative to many other cards aside from those Altitude Connect cards. Also, Capital One Landings, an elevated dining experience, is unique in the credit card lounge space, so that counts for something. So, what if you're willing to pay more in annual fees for more plentiful and diverse lounge options? Well, then you'll probably prefer the American Express Platinum card. At $695, it has the biggest collection of lounge offerings. For yourself, all on an unlimited basis, Priority Pass lounges, Plaza Premium, Amex Centurion lounges, Escape lounges, Lufthansa lounges when flying Lufthansa, and also 10 visits per year to Delta Sky Clubs when flying Delta. Yes, those last 2 do require you to fly with specific airlines, though most people who have the card will view those as supplementary options to the Priority Pass, Plaza Premium, and almost certainly the Centurion lounges. In terms of bank-sponsored lounges, Amex Centurion lounges have by far the largest footprint. So, the Amex Platinum is great in terms of its diverse lounge options, but not so great in terms of its annual fee. What about guest privileges? We have 2 free guests for Priority Pass, Plaza Premium, and Escape lounges, but no free guests for Centurion lounges unless you spend $75,000 in a year, after which you'll get 1 free guest. Doesn't that spend requirement sound familiar? Yeah, Capital One kind of copied Amex on that one. Anyway, spending $75,000 also unlocks unlimited access to Delta Sky Clubs for yourself, but still nothing on the free guest aspect. But if you want that and maybe also more visits for yourself in a year, then you might want to consider instead the Delta Reserve card. At $650, you'll get 15 one-time visits for yourself, as well as 4 one-time guest passes. You'll also get Centurion Lounge access, but only if you're flying with Delta. The last of the bank-sponsored lounges are Sapphire lounges, which you can get access to using the Chase Sapphire Reserve Personal or Business. After the recent refresh of the Personal and the introduction of the Business, these are the worst of the lot in terms of annual fees, coming in at $795. For that, you'll get unlimited access to Sapphire lounges, of which there are 7 currently and 3 upcoming. You'll also get unlimited access to Priority Pass lounges and experiences, as well as to select Air Canada Maple Leaf lounges when you're flying with a Star Alliance partner. A slightly more comprehensive lounge offering compared to the Venture X cards, but certainly less so than the American Express Platinum. That said, you may still prefer the Sapphire Reserves lounge offerings depending on where you live and how you travel. For example, the only bank lounge that is in San Diego currently is a Sapphire lounge. In terms of guest privileges, the Sapphire Reserve is solid. 2 free guests for Sapphire lounges and priority passes, none for the Maple Leaf lounges. Now, we have one more card to reveal, one that I believe has the strongest case for the best overall lounge card. For this one, we don't have to go through many new details. Simply copy over the lounge offering on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, remove the access to the Maple Leaf lounges, and then add unlimited guest access. Yes, unlimited to Sapphire lounges and Priority Pass lounges. Unless you're a frequent visitor of those Maple Leaf lounges, you'll definitely want to accept this trade-off. Also, this card has a much lower $450 annual fee, and is also free for authorized users who also get their own Priority Pass access. We're talking about the Chase Ritz-Carlton card. While this card currently isn't open to new applicants, you can still get it by having another personal Chase Bonvoy card for at least a year, so either the Bold or the Boundless, and then product changing to the Ritz-Carlton card. You also need at least a $10,000 credit limit on your personal Bonvoy card, which you can obtain if you don't have it already by asking Chase to simply increase it or by moving credit from one of your other Chase personal cards. Who knows how long this backdoor option will be available for, so if you can get a lot of value from these very generous guest privileges, then you want to seriously consider the Ritz-Carlton card. What more, at the time of filming this video, there are all-time high offers on both the Bold and the Boundless card, so pretty good time to get the strategy going if you're interested. Guys, I'd love to hear in the comments which cards that you're using for airport lounge access. Remember how I intentionally excluded a bunch of airline credit cards from this list? By no means does this mean that I don't see their usefulness. In the video on screen, I give the United, Delta, and American premium cards some love and critically compare their lounge offerings, amongst other things, against one another. I think you'll find it a good watch. Here's your card nerd signing off, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.